friends and fellow devotees of the Lord. Now, as you know, we are met together at a question and answer session. Questions can be asked by anyone, answers too can be given by anyone, for surely there will be a number of questions to which I may not be able to give adequate answers. And if at any time you find that you have a better answer to a question than the one that I have given, kindly do not hesitate in asking for the mic. Nothing will make me happier than to leave this hall having been enlightened by your wisdom, by your experience, by your knowledge. Question number 1.
Beloved Dada, what's the most important thing to you in life?
What is?
Is the most important thing to you
To you in
in
life.
life?
To meet you.
Oh, wow.
Pranams Dada. I love my Guru more than God. I hope this will not displease my Guru.
If a guru is displeased, he is not a guru. The guru knows that everything that happens according to the will of the Lord, and therefore he rejoices in everything that happens. He never feels displeased. He does not know the meaning of the word displeased. If he gets displeased, please discard him. He is not a guru.
Dear Dada, I am 21 years old. I am a 21-year-old girl, and my parents are insisting that I get married. Dada, I don't think I am responsible enough to handle myself. How will I handle another family? Please help me make my parents understand this.
Can you bring your parents here?
If the family can please come in front to Dada.
This young 21-year-old girl has asked this question. Maybe request her and her parents to step up and come out. If you have come, then you're-
Otherwise, we can pray for them. We can pray for them so that they do not. I think marriage is a matter of choice, and the persons concerned should be given the freedom. Yes. They asked Socrates. He was one of the wise men of antiquity, one of the wisest men in all Greece in those days, about 2500 years ago. They asked him, which is better, to marry or not to marry? And the answer which he gave was, whatever you do, you will be unhappy. If you marry, you will be unhappy. If you don't marry, you will be unhappy. दिल्ली का लड्डू है, खाएंगा तो भी पछताएंगा, नहीं खाएंगा तो भी पछताएंगा. But let me tell you that so far मैंने नहीं पछताया है.
When one is accustomed to solitude and peace, a certain level of silence and peace, how does one cope, or, for the want of a better word, tolerate high levels of noise and high levels of restlessness around you?
You can plug your ears. Just put cotton in your ears. You are referring to outer noise, isn't it? You can plug your ears because it is very difficult nowadays to get perfect silence all around you, especially for girls, because if you go to solitary places in search of silence, that is also not good for you. So wherever you are, just plug your
Dada, Gurudev Sadhu Vaswani in his speech said, I am of the Atman, a soul in the world soul. Can you please explain this, Dada?
The soul has two aspects. In actuality, there is but one universal soul. The soul that is in every one of you is the soul in me. There is but one universal soul. But this soul has many vibrations. That is what makes each soul an individual soul. Therefore, you become a soul in the one universal soul. Simultaneously, you have to play two parts. You have to be an individual on the one hand, and on the other hand, you have to become a part of the universal soul. Until a stage comes when your individuality falls and you become one with the universal soul. In the earlier stages, you retain your individuality. But then it drops down and you become one with the universal soul.
Dada, the question is from a 10-year-old. He says, the place where we stay is not close to a satsang. My mama puts on your satsang and kirtans at home every morning. What else can we do so that we connect to God?
Two things that each one of us must do every day. One is to have some type of the satsang or the other. And the second is to see an image of God in someone, preferably someone who is poor, someone who is sick, someone who is abnormal. Behold the face of God, an image of God in that individual, and render service to him. Those are the two things that we must do every day. On the one hand, satsang. If there is no satsang near your house, you can have satsang in the house. That is the easiest form of satsang. At one time, I do not know if those cassettes are still available, but at one time there was a set of 7 cassettes, a cassette for every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I think half an hour's cassette or 3/4 of an hour's cassette, you only had to play that cassette and go and sit quietly and listen to it. That would be the satsang for the day. So these two things are very necessary.
I love you, Dada.
So do I. That is why I'm here.
When we face suffering due to our mistakes, can we say it's God's will? Is it destiny or is it karma?
Karma too is a part of God. Karma is nothing outside God. Karma too is part of God. Therefore, if I suffer on account of a mistake which I have committed, I should regard it as the will of God and continue to pray to God so that I do not make that mistake again. Yes. But I should not be depressed on that account. I know of people who commit mistakes and then they become depressed, which is wrong. This mistake too has come to you as an experience to teach you a lesson which you need to learn. Learn the lesson and move forward. Forget the mistake.
The question has two parts. The question has two parts. The first part is, if you have only a few friends and they are leading you in the wrong direction, what should you do? Will I feel lonely without them? What
But
should
they are not your friends if they are taking you on the wrong path. They are your enemies. Would you like to go along with them? A friend, who is a friend? A friend is one who always helps you to move on the right path. If there are people who are leading you on the wrong path, they are not your friends. Never think of them as your friends.
The second part is, Dada, do ghosts really exist?
Ghosts do exist. There are people who, at the time of their death, with their last breath, they are attached to something that belongs to the sphere of this earth. They become ghosts. There are ghosts. Within the physical, there is what we call the etheric physical. The etheric double, exactly like the physical, just a copy of the physical but made of ether. The purpose of that etheric double is to draw out energy from what surrounds you and distribute it to different parts of the body. That is how the body works. Now the moment of what you call death, the moment of death of the physical, in that moment this etheric double also leaves you. But there are some who cling. They cling to the etheric double. The etheric double does not leave them. They are still under the influence of the etheric double. They become ghosts.
Dada, can we have two spiritual gurus?
If they are spiritual, you can have. You can have as many as you like. Why two? You may have as many. Dattatreya, the silent one, he had 24 gurus. And you have, as part of the Bhagavat, one section which is known as the Avadhut Gita. And the Avadhut Gita is given a description of all that Dattatreya has learned from those 24 gurus. He says, one of my guru was a thief. One of my gurus was a prostitute. So you can have many gurus, yes.
Dada, and the second part of the question is, how do we know that we are progressing on the spiritual path?
You cannot know. There is no yardstick by which you can know that you are progressing on the spiritual path. But you become more gentle. You become more helpful. You are, to be spiritual is to open one's heart. The heart of most of us is closed. And our spiritual journey begins with the opening of the heart. Then you and those around you, they feel the change in your life, yes. But there is no yardstick. You can't measure how far you have gone, yes. And let me tell you, whatever effort you put on the spiritual path, whatever tapasya you do, whatever japa you do, whatever you do to make progress on the spiritual path is your offering to God. God accepts it. And if God so desires, He can give it free to somebody else. You have made the earning and it goes to somebody else. You don't have to object to that.
I have two boys, 8 years and 15 years old. How can I explain to them the real purpose of this life? He has two boys, 8 years and 15 years. And how can I explain to them the real purpose of this life?
The best way to explain to children is to live that life. Children don't pay attention to your words. Children, they watch you. You are their role model. Whatever you do is taken over by the children. So you must be what you want your children to learn, you must first become that.
There's a related question as well, which says, what do you think our goals in life should be? What do you think our goals in life should be?
The goal in life should be to become more and more perfect. I should be more perfect today than I was yesterday, and I should be more perfect tomorrow than I am today. We are on the path of perfection. This earth is a school. It is not a pleasure hunting ground. It is a school. We have come here to learn certain lessons that we are required to learn. Therefore, let every day of our life on earth be a day of perfection, of spiritual perfection.
Dada, in life,
Today I became angry over a small thing. I must see that I don't repeat that mistake tomorrow. That is how I will become more and more perfect as I proceed on the path. Yes. I'm sorry I interrupted.
Dada, in life's difficult situations, what must we do so that our Guru comes to our rescue immediately?
There is no switch that you can press and the Guru will come immediately. You can pray. Yes. And there is no such switch which you have just to press and your Guru is there. It all depends on how close you have drawn to the Guru. If there is no distance between you and the Guru, he is always with you. You don't have to call him. He is always with you.
My beloved Gurudev, does a guru also have karmas with a disciple? Does a guru also have karmas with a disciple? If so, how should I have more karma with you? If
To have karma with me, please don't think of me as your Guru. We both will regard Sadhu Vaswani as our Guru.
Dada, what are the rules we should follow when we take Naam?
It all depends. When you take Naam from a spiritual person, from a Guru, he will set conditions. He will say, if you want Naam, you have to do the following things. So it is the one who gives you Naam who will also give you the set of conditions that you have to follow.
Dadaji, I want to see you always, even when I shut my eyes. How can I do that? There's a continuation.
It is very easy to see with closed eyes. It is difficult to see with open eyes. You are fortunate if you wish to see it closed.
The same person, he says, can he get an opportunity of gazing into your eyes just once?
Just one. If you do just once, you will be caught forever. Therefore,
So is that person ready? Then he or she can come.
therefore make sure that
I can't stop looking at them. I can't stop looking at them.
This is a slightly long question. The person is in a dilemma. I was very fortunate to get your Naam done 15 years back. But unfortunately, I could not progress on the spiritual path due to my laziness. I am not sitting to meditate. Can I start now? Will you bless me that I should get started again?
oh yes, you can start, you can continue, you can end any time that you like. Yes. You will have to use your free will. Yeah.
How can our parents become our friends, as there is so much of a generation gap between them and us? How can our parents become our friends, as there is so much of a generation gap between them and us?
We used to have pen friends. I remember when I was studying in a school, we had a number of pen friends. Friends in Australia, friends in New Zealand, friends in London, friends in New York. Without having seen those friends, we used to feel that we have friends in those places. Why can't you, what is the question? Why can't you make your parents whom you can see friends? And the best way to make a friend, is to listen to what he tells you. You just listen to your parents, they will become your friends. That you argue with your parents, that is what puts a distance between you and your parents. I often say to young people that you must feel grateful to your parents for having given you this golden opportunity of the human birth. This human birth is such a thing that if you give all the money that was in the world, not merely the money that belonged to Bill Gates or what are the other names? Buffett.
Warren Buffett.
Warren Buffett, Ambani, you give all that money, you won't be able to purchase the human birth. This human birth is a gift that has been given to you by your parents. And what is there that you should not be prepared to do for them? And they are your parents. They are your friends already. They are more than your friends, but you don't listen to them. In our days, there was no generation gap. In our days, if there was anything, we would go and confide in our parents, because we felt that they were the ones who would understand us. But now, generation gap has been produced. The parents have not created the generation gap. It is you who are young, you have created a generation gap. And as far as I know, many parents are trying to do away with this generation gap. They are trying their best. But because they are more experienced, they have learned many lessons, they have been punished for having done certain things. They don't want you to have a similar punishment. We call this vicarious experience. They want you to take advantage of the experience that they have.
Dada, in this competitive world and difficult market scenario, how does one deal with so many commitments?
One by one. There was a man working in a hospital laboratory. You know, every hospital has a laboratory. They have to check blood and urine and all that sort of thing. So this man who worked in a hospital pathological laboratory had on a particular day, he had, I think, over 150 samples. So the man who was the head of the laboratory said to him that today you have so much work to do. You have to study 150 samples, because the blood that you give, or your urine, or your sputum, or anything else is to be studied on that very day. You can't postpone it. You can't say, I'll do it tomorrow. The man said to the boss, he said, Sir, I don't think of how many samples I have to study. I only think that I have to study the particular sample which is in front of me, one at a time, one at a time.
Dada, this question is asked by the male head of the family. He's the patriarch of the family, the head of the family, the male member. He is asking, we have seen in our homes that the mothers, wives and daughters is always expected to listen to us and to be obedient. But now our girls want more independence. Is it right, or will it create indiscipline at home? To giving them more independence, is it right, or will it create more indiscipline at home?
But this is not in your hands. Your children will simply not listen to you. What will you do then? Supposing I tell you, let there be no arguments between children and parents, children will not listen. What will you do? Therefore, if you have to bring up the children in the right way, you must start while they are still young. You must start when a child. There was a mother who went and met the greatest philosopher of his days, Aristotle. And she asked Aristotle, my child is become 3 years old. When should I start giving him the right training? He said to her, Madam, you have wasted 3 years already. Right now you must start to give him the training. The children have come to you to be trained in the right way. But the difficulty is that you find time to go to clubs, you find time to go to your friends, you find time to go to the hotels, you find time to go and see movies, but you have no time for your children. With the result that they grow in their own way, and when they cross something like 7 years, if a child is 7 years old, he refuses to listen to the parents, because you have neglected him for all those years. The fault finally is yours. I learned of a young man in his teens. He wanted a pair of shoes, and he went to a shoe shop. The salesman brought many shoes and asked him to choose the one that he liked. He chose one of them, and he said to the salesman, I am taking away these shoes, I like them, but if I wear them and my parents like these shoes, I will come and return this to you and choose another pair. This is the condition of some of our young people. Because we have not paid the attention that is due to them. The parents are busy with their own things. They have no time for their children. There was a time when we had mothers who realized that motherhood is a 24 hours job. Now we are working mothers. Why? Because our needs have grown. We wish to live in a particular style. In our days there was no such consideration. We lived simple lives. What is missing in our life today is the quality of simplicity. Everyone wants to show off. Lao Tse was a great sage of ancient China. And he used to say, if you want to live a happy life, you must see that your life is simple. Without simplicity, you cannot live a happy life. Thoreau was another sage of America. And a group of young men came to him and they put to him this question. They said, what is the secret of the life worth living? Give us an answer in 3 words. And he said the first word is simplicity, the second word is simplicity, the third word is simplicity. Simplicity is so important.
Dada, there is a question about mothers, daughters and wives. In earlier days, they were more subservient and they would listen and obey their husbands or their fathers. But today they are very independent and they don't want to follow that. So will this affect the discipline in the house? Should they be given their independence?
It is not should they be given. They will grasp. They have the power to grasp. वो खींच लेंगी. They will not wait for you to give them. They will regard it as their own right. No longer do a number of wives regard their husbands as the bosses of the family. No. They say we must share. I think behind all this is the economic factor. If the husband is an earning member of the family and the wife is earning nothing, though she may be working from the point of view of work, she may be doing more work than the husband does when he goes to his office. But still, because she is not earning anything, she has no voice. Then you will say, is it fair? The answer is yes, it is fair. Then you will say, are wives doomed to live such a life? Yes, is the answer. Why? Because in this particular birth, you have been born a woman. You have become a wife. You have to obey your husband. But remember, in your next birth, you will become a husband and your husband will become your wife. And accounts will be settled. Because life is a continuous flow. It is like a river. जो आज what happens to you today, there will be a reaction tomorrow. Then you may do what you like. As a husband, you can order your life. You can order your wife.
Dada, Gurudev Sadhu Vaswani says, plan nothing and win everything.
He did not say that to everybody. He said that only to one person. One person who had retired from government service and wanted to join an ashram came to him and asked him to write out some words of advice for him. To that man he gave those words, plan nothing, win everything. He didn't say that to everybody, no. He may not say that to you. But by plan nothing and win everything, he meant leave it to the Lord. Leave it to the Lord. Let Him decide things for you. So far you have been in government service, and so far you have let your boss decide things for you. Now you have no boss. Now let the Lord decide things for you.
How important are direct family relationships? Recently, I have found distance between myself and my brother. I do not want to make any more effort with him.
I don't want to do
I do not want to make any more effort with him.
many more
Any more effort with him.
effort.
With him. Am I wrong?
Yes. If you have this thought in your mind that you will make no effort with him, it is wrong. You should do what you think is right. In Hindi, they have a proverb which says, "Tu apni tor nibhaye, uski o jane." That is the ideal of the spiritual aspirant. The spiritual aspirant will do his part, whatever the other person does. There was a dervish, Usman, I think was his name. He had a house built very close to the house of another who was a Jew. Usman was a Muslim. He was a Jew. And to be able to reach his house, Usman, the dervish, had to pass through a plot of land which belonged to the Jew. The Jew wanted to trouble Usman. So the Jew built a number of urinals, water closets, on the plot which Usman had to cross to be able to reach his house. With the result that every day this dervish, Usman, had to pass through that space. Then the Jew came there was some trouble through which he had to pass. And when Usman came to know of it, Usman came and served him. And the Jew said, I thought you will come and take revenge from me. The Darwish said to him, revenge for what? I must do my duty. My duty it is to help you as far as I can. Tu apni tor nibhaye uski o jane. And Usman said to him, all I had to do was to take out my handkerchief and place it before the nose and pass through that period. It didn't take me more than a minute or a minute and a half. So far as you are concerned, as a spiritual aspirant, you must do your duty. You must not depart from your duty. You must leave it to the law of karma.
Dada, it is said that watchfulness is the essence of meditation. How should we grow in this awareness of silent witnessing?
Silent.
Witnessing. Witness. Observer.
Meditation, as far as I know, does not want you to become a witness. Meditation wants you to forget yourself. You don't have to become a witness. You have only to forget yourself. And when you forget yourself, you get your true self. Forget to get. That is meditation. If you become a witness to something, that is not true meditation. No. That awareness is born within you without your making any effort. That is meditation. If while you are meditating, your attention is drawn to becoming a witness, it is not meditation. No.
Dear Dada, how do you know if a person is the right person or the wrong person for one's marriage?
For once,
Marriage. How do you know whether it's the right person or the wrong?
after marrying you will know.
My humble question is that in this world now we are facing so much terrorism. The world is suffering. What should we do to counter this?
My humble answer is that whatever is happening to you now is something that you did in the past. In the past, we have done many things. They are only coming back to us. The law of karma says it is a scientific law, it is a universal law, it is a law which says action and reaction are equal and opposite. That is the third law of Newton, law of motion. We have created an action in the past. That action is to be balanced out. Therefore, the reaction takes place in our life, and that reaction balances out the action. To give you a very simple example, you go to a party You like the type of food that is served. It was only the day before yesterday that I got a letter. Somebody wrote to me. I went to such and such a party. The food was simply delicious. DE-LI-CO- delicious. And then he didn't write anything further. But supposing you go to a party where the food is simply delicious, you like to overeat. This overeating is an action which you have created. It is to be balanced out by a reaction. That very night, you get pain in the region of the chest. And you think it is a heart attack. So the action that you did in the evening was to be balanced out by a reaction. This is the law of karma. We have performed many types of action, wrong actions in the past. They lie dormant in the like seeds in the field of life. The time has come for them to sprout. Out of those seeds, trees are born. Out of the trees, fruits are born. Those fruits may be sweet, sour, insipid, tasteless. We have to eat them. No one else will do it for us. Therefore, let us be aware of every action that we perform. Let us be cautious. Let us be careful to see that whatever we speak, every word that we speak, there is a saying which is attributed to Jesus. It is said that on one occasion, Jesus said to his disciples, the time is coming when you will be asked to render account for every idle word that you have spoken. We began with this thought that we must not speak more than what is absolutely necessary. Now surely if we speak more than what is necessary, some of those words will be idle. We will be asked to render account for every idle word that we have spoken. Now whatever we have done in the past is only coming back to us. We have killed animals. We have taken the lives of animals. Millions upon millions of them. And now you have people going to schools and killing children. You could never imagine that such a thing could happen on earth. Perhaps this is some karma coming back. Therefore be very careful. Always be sweet. Always be gentle. Always be helpful. Do as much good as you can to as many as you can, on as many occasions as you can, in as many ways as you can, and as long as you can. Let this be the rule of your life. And you will always be protected. Buddha said This is the teaching of the Buddhas of all ages.
Pujya Dadaji, I want to do a lot in my life, but fail to do so because of lack of self-will and discipline.
Lack of
Self-will and discipline. Willpower
self-will.
and discipline.
Yeah.
Please advise how to make my will more strong and achieve my goals.
One way of making your willpower strong is, supposing you break a rule of your life, supposing you want to make a rule of your life to the effect that you will not speak an untruth. But supposing you break this rule, you have spoken an untruth, you have spoken an untruth, then if you want to develop your willpower, you say to yourself that for a whole month I will not take gulab jamuns, if you are fond of gulab jamuns. That will give you strength. Do something punitive that develops your willpower. Also, your willpower can improve through prayer, through fellowship with men and women of willpower, and through a study of the lives of men and women of willpower. But the best thing is to say to yourself, if I break this rule, I will pay a fine of so much. That will always keep you cautious. It will develop your willpower.
Pranams, Dada.
Pranams to you.
Dada, there are a few times in my life when I feel fearful and anxious about my future. Though after a while, I do realize that I am safe in God's hands, but that moment of fear and anxiety leaves me uneasy. How do I deal with that particular moment when I'm fearful?
When that moment comes, pay a fine. And you will find that the number of times such a thought comes to you will keep on decreasing. Is that all right?
Yes, Dada. Thank you, Dada.
Nowadays, jealousy has become a habit in everybody's nature. It becomes a habit. So, I have a friend, she does seva and all, and she is talented of something, and some of our friends wants her to be out by hurting her dignity. So we forgive and forget many things, but is hurting dignity of a woman can be forgiven also?
And spoiling the dignity of a woman,
Yes,
whether you are friends or not, is wrong.
yeah.
Both the cases. You may be her friend, you need not be her friend, but you can't spoil the dignity of a woman. No.
So is that also easily forgiven? You can forgive that person also who spoils the dignity or the reputation of a woman.
You do in your own good way try to save the dignity of a woman. But in trying to save the dignity of one woman, you should not spoil the dignity of another. You should be careful.
Yeah.
Because on the one hand, you are doing good karma. On the other hand, you are doing karma which is not good.
Okay, what about that woman whose dignity is being spoiled?
You try to save
Uh,
it.
Yeah, but if not, I mean, is it easily forgiven? Do we forgive that person also who does such?
For us, the rule is to forgive. For those who want to move on the spiritual path, the rule is forgiving. Forgiving to such an extent, if you are not getting late, I will tell you an incident from the life of a Darwish. There was one man who had in his purse 100 dinars. That purse was stolen, and somehow or the other, they used to whisper to each other that this purse has been taken away by a man who was regarded as holy. When this reached the ears of this man, he inquired, he said, how much was there in the purse? And they told him that there was 1,000 dinars in the purse. So what this man did was, he took a purse, put 1,000 dinars in it, and gave it to the man who had lost it. 3 months thereafter, the man who had stolen this purse took a lot of drink. And when you come under the influence of drink, you say many things which you would not say otherwise. So while he drank, this man said, हम तो ऐसा है कुछ भी कर देते हैं, कुछ किसको पता भी नहीं पड़ता है, और and this is what I did. Then when the people realized that what they had done was absolutely wrong, they took 1,000 dinars and went to that Darwish and told him to take those dinars back because he had not stolen the dinar. The man said, whatever I give once, I never take back. He said, these 1,000 dinars are yours. You do what you like with it. That is the way of the spiritual seeker.
One more question, Dada. If, say, you are in charge of something and you know that this is wrong, something is wrong, which others.
If it is your duty to correct it, you must correct it.
Yeah.
But if it is not your duty, you should not put your hand in.
Is that suppose she is working for me and she feels I am wrong. So should she correct me because I am supposed to be her boss?
If it is her duty to be over the boss and correct the boss, then she should do it. But otherwise, she can gently, in a gentle way, indicate to the boss that perhaps we have made a mistake. But not to become the boss of the boss.